back for Harfield. 1-0 Burnley. Scott Harfield. He's been threatening that recently. And all the Burnley players run to the Darwin end. Oh, what a goal! What a goal from Robbie Blake! Burnley's first goal in the Premier League is something very, very special.
Wade Elliott has that change of pace and he's got away from Montgomery into the path of McCann and the follow-up finds the net. What a strike from Wade Elliott! A bolt from the Claret and Blue. Oh goodness me! What a goal from Patterson! If that is to be the one that takes them to Wembley, you cannot argue with that. Pure quality.
Here goes Mike Conroy. Still time for a winner, maybe. John Francis! They came to York in their thousands. They're going home as champions.
I mean, if there's any justice in the world, Burnley would surely score from this corner. Swung right in there. Ball in there. Yeah! Michael Kennan! Oh, that's justice! That is justice at the Amex Stadium. Burnley are level and deserve to be.
Hello everyone and welcome along to the latest episode of the Turfcast podcast pre-game show, and it is of course the last episode of the season because the game against Cardiff is obviously the last game of the season, but don't worry, we will be back with a a full-time show after the game. I'm not sure exactly when it will be, if I'm being honest with you, because obviously the game's on Monday and then I'm working Monday night. And then, obviously, it's the Champions Parade on Tuesday. So I would have done it Tuesday night, but then I'll obviously be at the Champions Parade. So it's probably going to be Wednesday around 6. But don't put that in your diaries just yet. As usual, follow us on social media at Turfcast Podcast and all the usual places. And I will put a post up to let you know when we are going to be live. And I do need to speak to Neil yet as well, and the others, to find out when they are free. But yeah, of course, we will be chatting Burnley versus Cardiff in just a few minutes. I do have a Cardiff fan waiting in the wings. You may recognise him from last time. But obviously, some news has dropped over the last few days. JJ Watt is now an official investor in the club. NFL All-Star, NFL legend JJ Watt is an investor in the club. He did say it is not so much a monetary investment, but more emotional investment. Obviously, there will be monetary there as well. How much, we don't know. That information has remained private, which is fair enough. But it's brilliant to see him already interacting with all the fans. We've seen him doing it for weeks, well, months. Obviously, all the the pictures came up of him watching Burnley while eating his breakfast and stuff like that. That's when it started. And then, of course, he started wearing the Vincent Kompany hat. He started going on TV shows, wearing these hats and tops and stuff. But yeah, the news came out this week that he is an official investor. Then immediately he did loads of press over in the US. Followed Turfcast on Twitter. He followed quite a lot of the pages, but it was good to see him follow Turfcast. And interact with us. Fingers crossed we can get him on. That's going to be the aim over the summer. We're going to try and get him on, see if he'll chat to us, and hopefully just have a bit of a chat with him and stuff like that, and see what he wants to do, what he wants to get out of it, that the plan, that sort of thing. So yeah, fingers crossed we could do that. Obviously, I'm going to need some shows over the summer, so an interview with JJ Watt would be fantastic. So JJ, if you're watching, listening, drop us a message. I'll speak to my people. We'll get something sorted. But of course, today the news dropped. That's we've all known about it really, unofficially, the official Burnley trailer. But it was officially announced that there will be an official, documentary. The official trailer for the official documentary dropped today. So that was good to see. So the documentary will be out in September. It will be in 4 parts. It will be on Sky Documentary. A lot of people say Netflix, but no, it's Sky Documentaries. So that's something to look forward to as well, because the Premier League season will start about then. So who knows? We might need a bit of a pick-me-up by September, and that will be fantastic. I'm really looking forward to that. I can't wait. It's going to be like it's the best season in my 35 years following Burnley. I've said it plenty of times. I stand by it. Yes, we've had better seasons where we've achieved more, but this is my favourite season following Burnley. And then to win the league at Ewood Park at the end, that's probably where the it'll come to a climax, the documentary. Obviously, there's a trophy lift which hasn't been filmed yet, which is happening on Monday. But yeah, to watch that back over and over and over again is something that I will be doing. I will binge it on the day it comes out. So I think we should all binge it together, if I'm honest. Find out an official date. At the minute, it's just September. But when we get an official actual day when it comes out, I'll be booking it off and I'll be binge watching it probably 3 or 4 times. So I am very much looking forward to that. But anyway, we obviously have to chat Burnley versus Cardiff. It is a bit of a damp squib for us and for them. Obviously, they've stayed up now. A lot of people were saying, we might be able to send Cardiff down on the last day. It's never good to do that anyway, is it? We did it to Fulham a few years ago. So it's never good to do that. But congratulations to Cardiff for staying up. I will, of course, bring a Cardiff fan in now. And this is Tom. How you doing, mate? You all right?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, really good. Thanks. Congratulations on staying up. Of course, I think you already had stayed up, but last night Reading's relegation was confirmed after Huddersfield beat Sheffield United. Bit of an upset, but yeah, congratulations on staying up.
Thank you very much, and congratulations on winning the league as well.
Yeah, thank you. So obviously, it's a bit of we're really looking forward to this game. Obviously, for obvious reasons, it's going to be a celebration. We're going to get the trophy lift at the end, which I know we've won the league before, but we were actually robbed of winning the lifting the trophy last time because the EFL had it up at the Riverside Stadium, even though we were already top. It's something that Burnley fans are still annoyed about. But yeah, a lot of Burnley fans are really looking forward to it. What are you sort of like? How are your thoughts on this game? Because it doesn't matter, does it, to you? You're just turning up to somebody else's party, really. Are you like hoping that you can sort of like ruin the party, or are you just another game, not too bothered, end of season game, get it out of the way and get focused on next year?
It's a weird one. It's, there's obviously always that little bit of it would be funny just to show up and win, just with how amazing Burnley have been this year. It would be Pete Cardiff just to show up and end up winning a game that means absolutely nothing against the best team in the league. We did it the year we went down from the Premiership. We got relegated the week before, losing 3-1 at home to Palace. And then last game of the season went to Old Trafford and won 2-0. So it would be a very Cardiff thing to do. In all honesty, the biggest thing for me is just to get the season finished. It's not been particularly good. I think that's a bit of an understatement, but it's been a bad year, in all honesty. And any kind of positives, just hopefully that some of our guys on loan can get a nice send off and have a nice last game for us, really.
Yes. Yeah. How do you look at your season then? Because obviously, in the end, you achieved. I mean, it's not the goal that you would have had at the start of the season. Obviously, you achieved the goal of staying up, but is it? You've mentioned it there. It's been a bad year, so I presume you are, as fans, going to look back on this year as one not to remember.
Yeah, and it's not been fun. It's been weird though. Like, we very rarely get battered. We don't usually ship in loads of goals. I think only twice in the league and the cup we've conceded 4 goals or more. So like when we went away to Sheffield United, we lost 4-1. And then we lost, I think it was 5-2 away at Leeds in the FA Cup in the replay. Yeah. So we've not been battered hardly ever. It's always a loss by 1 goal or 2. It's very rare that we end up getting absolutely turned over, which makes it a little bit more frustrating because you think, well, these games we could have got something from them. If we had the players in that we have now from the start of the season and then we had everybody firing, then it's a different story. If some of those annoying draws or losses by 1 goal could have been a win, they weren't great performances by any means, but it's the fact that, things could have been different. So it just makes it a little bit more frustrating. So yeah, it's gonna be a year that's not looked back on too fondly.
Yeah, fair enough. You mentioned there, if you had some of the players now that you had at the start of the season, it might have been different. What's been the issue? Has it been injuries, or have you brought some decent signings in January?
So we brought in basically our main striker now on loan in January, a guy called Sori Kaba, and he's hit the ground running. He's been probably our best attacking outlet. Since January, and he scored some really important goals for us, and I think his just build up play is very good as well. And he's been really important for us. But I think as well just how some players have performed a lot better since our new manager came in. We got Sabri Lamouchi come in January, and some players really have excelled under him. So, it's just things like that. I think, maybe if, we appointed Sabri first time round when we got rid of Morrison, and, what if, somebody like Carver came in towards the back end of September on loan, would we be in a different position? The answer is probably. So, yeah, it's just, we hit a bit of decent form, obviously, at the right time to keep us up, and Sabri did his job, which was to keep us up. But, it's just been an annoying one, really.
Yeah, it's unusual. Well, I say it's unusual. I'm going to say it's unusual to see a team of 3 managers in a season, but you're not the only one in the Championship for a start, and it does seem to be happening more and more. Leeds, obviously, for example, have had 3 this year as well now. I remember last time we played you, you had just appointed your new manager at that time. Was it Hudson? Mark Hudson?
It was,
yeah. And that was his first game. And obviously, it was 1-1. I think we scored first. I can't remember exactly the exact game, to be honest. I might be getting it mixed up with Birmingham. But I think we scored first and you equalised. What went wrong then? Because I remember after that thinking, Cardiff might be quite strong now. They did well against us. They limited us to only 1 goal. So what went wrong under Hudson?
In all honesty, it was just scoring goals. Like I said, we weren't shipping in loads. We kept, for the most part, a fairly tight defence. But, it was just a lot of draws, quite a lot of 0-0s, which was annoying. There was one particularly at home against, or it might have been away, I can't really remember. I've tried to block it out. When we played QPR, it was a 0-0 draw. And you think, well, that's the type of game that is there for you to win, and then just silly ones like his last game in charge was a 1-1 draw at home against Wigan after we'd gone 1-0 up. So it's just, not really being able to, not being able to score full stop.
Yeah.
Being the main thing. And then just, switching off at annoying times and being punished for it as well. So it's just a mix of that, really. It's just, the football, all right, wasn't brilliant at times. You could see what he was trying to do. And, I have nothing but respect for Mark Hudson. He's ex-captain. I love the guy. But it is a shame that it ended the way it did. But ultimately, it was best for the club in the end.
Yeah, fair enough. Just going off what you've said then over the last 12 minutes, would it be fair to say that you've been pretty poor going forward, but quite strong at the back this season?
Kind of. We've been getting better going forward as the year's gone on, especially since Carver's come in. And he's linked really well with Jaden Philogene, who's another loan signing, but thankfully we've had him since the start of the season. Usually the defence is pretty okay. Like, you associate Cardiff with a pretty solid defence. This year has been really hot and cold. More often than not, we've been letting in pretty silly goals. It could be, I think the game against Huddersfield was probably just like a peak display of what it's been like as a Cardiff fan this year. And that was a very Cardiff performance in that we play all right for the first half, thinking, we could get something here. And then just have, a 10, 15-minute spell where we just switch off completely and play some horrendous football on all areas of the pitch. And then ultimately it costs you the game. And that's pretty much what it's been. All year it's been, so just really strange. Like, overall, you think when things are going well in the game, it's almost going a little bit too well. And then before you know it, some players will just fall asleep and switch off, and the other team scored 2 in quick succession, and we can't make really most of our chances.
Yep, fair enough. From the outside looking in then, I don't really know what's happened at Cardiff over the last few years. Obviously, not long ago, this was a Premier League fixture. So we've come down, bounced straight back up. Everybody just goes, parachute payments. It's so easy when you've got parachute payments. Obviously, Cardiff relegated in 2019, was it?
Yeah.
So Cardiff obviously will have been in receipt of parachute payments. Obviously, you've got Norwich and Watford who haven't gone straight back up. I think I don't think either of them can get the playoffs. And you've also got teams like Middlesbrough in there who are getting parachute payments. Right, all right, they're doing relatively well. But obviously Cardiff are a side that now probably looking over the shoulder more than what they are looking upwards. So how come you're in this position now? Is it the owner Tan? Is it Vincent Tan? Is he still the owner?
He's still the owner, yeah.
So is that what's gone wrong? Is it just bad ownership, or is it more to it?
I think the ownership is where it starts, and it kind of has a trickle down effect.
Course, yeah.
The club's just really poorly run from the top down, unfortunately. And I think probably the biggest thing with us has been instability. That has been our Achilles heel since relegation. One or two questionable signings. I love Neil Warnock to bits, but I think a lot of Cardiff fans will say there were, a couple of signings that we made and players on pretty big wages. You think, well, they weren't really worth that. So there's a bit of that, but then, I can't put, that's not the reason why we were flirting with relegation this year and a lot of last season as well. I think it starts with the ownership, and then you look at the board. I don't think it's a board that can effectively run a football club, and that is the view of pretty much all Cardiff fans as well. And I feel bad for the management and players because there's so much just instability, and there has been, since we got rid of Warnock, we've appointed so many managers, with some of them coming in initially just on like a caretaker basis, but then getting the job full time, and having teams that they didn't have any influence on in transfer windows and not really knowing their best 11. So I think it's just, the whole thing is incredibly unstable at the minute, and it just needs modernization. The fact that we still don't have a director of football in 2023 is absolutely ridiculous, so I think it starts with the ownership, and the way that the club's run is why we're in this position now.
Yeah, fair enough. So what is it as a fan now? I know you said earlier, like, just get the season done, get focused on next season. What do you think you can achieve next season? Like, obviously, as a fan, you always need something to look forward to. Else what's the point? So presumably, you're looking forward to maybe a push for the playoffs or something next season. Is that a realistic goal for you, do you think?
I want to be optimistic, but honestly, I don't think there is. I think it could be, I would take a boring season where we finish 10th or 11th. I think we're going to be quite restricted this year in the summer in terms of what we can do, because we had an embargo put on from FIFA and the EFL on transfers because of the payments for Salah. And even though now the first payment has gone through and FIFA have lifted an embargo, it doesn't look like the EFL embargo is going anywhere. And I think that is so we can't actually sign players with money. And there's something about loan fees as well. I don't think we can pay them. So, hopefully, fingers crossed, that changes. And we can get some business in. Otherwise, it's just going to be trying to make use of the free agent and loan market, which sometimes, can work. It worked in January for us. And it's just doing the best we can with a pretty poor situation. So, like I said, I would absolutely love just a boring mid-table season next year. But it's Cardiff, we don't really do boring. We'll either be fighting relegation again or probably going for the title. It's just the way it goes.
Yeah, it's interesting that, like you said, there's a thing about loan fees. You're going to have to utilise the like you said, free agent market, aren't you? Which does restrict you quite a lot. And with teams like Southampton coming down, probably one of Forest, who have got a lot of money, Everton, who are a massive club, probably the biggest the Championship's ever seen. Oh, Villa, actually, but I'm not going to get into that debate, to be fair. And there's Leeds as well. They could be coming down. It's going to be tough next year in Championship. It's going to be really tough. So yeah, I can understand why you do feel that way. But looking ahead to the game then, you said there you've not been battered before. You've very rarely shipped more than, well, you haven't, apart from on 2 occasions, shipped more than 4 goals, once at Sheffield United, once at Leeds. Do you think that continues? Do you think you're going to be quite strong at the Turf? Do you think we'll have an eye on the party instead? Do you think you'll come away with something?
We have the potential to do it, I think. Even though I think Burnley have been a cut above the rest this year, at the end of the day, well, since it was confirmed that you guys are up and champions, it's not just a Burnley thing. It's been a thing with all championship teams. They kind of take their eye off a little bit, and then there are one or two kind of shock results that could happen. So that part of me thinks that, maybe we can get something, maybe not a win, but just, and like I said, there'll be a few lone players last games. So hopefully, they can turn up maybe and try and leave us with some, even though they've left us with good memories already, just like a nice way to send them off kind of thing. But then at the same time, my realist hat comes on and realize, well, it's Burnley. You're going to be wanting to go for the 100 points. I don't think company is going to let the players, take it easy just because it's the last game of the season. He's going to want that 100 points plus team. So, it's a weird one. And it could very much go one of two ways where, we can capitalize on a team that, might be metaphorically on the beach a little bit. Or we could get absolutely battered. It's just going to go one way or the other. I think we'll either win it narrowly or get battered.
Yeah, fair enough. It's one of them things, isn't it? Since we've won the league, we've only actually played one game. That was down at Bristol City, beat them 2-1. But actually getting promoted, we've drawn to Rotherham, drawn to Reading, lost against QPR. That was, in my opinion, the biggest shock of this championship season. So I see since the promotion, we have taken our foot off the gas slightly, but obviously then got the win at Blackburn, which secured the league at Ewood Park, which was brilliant. And then since then we have got another win. But I don't know. I'm a little worried that they might be a little bit on the beach because the last time they played at home, they were very much so on the beach. And this time it's going to be a party atmosphere. We're all looking forward to seeing them lift the trophy. I'm sure the players are looking forward to lifting the trophy. We've got the Champions Parade on Tuesday, and I presume 99% of them jet off to Dubai on Wednesday. So there's going to be that side of it where they don't particularly want an injury while walking around Dubai as well. But I see what you mean about company. We do see him as a bit of a mentality monster. But after the promotion at Middlesbrough, we did take our foot off the gas a little bit, so there could be that. But any players that we should look out for then on your side that could cause us some issues?
I've mentioned them both already, but
yeah,
I would say Jaden Philogene and Sori Kaba. They say to never fall in love with a loan signing, but we've done that as a fan base with both of them. And Sabri had a press conference this morning, and it looks like that they're not going to be coming back next year, on loan or a transfer or whatever. And it looks like Cedric Kipray's played his last game for us as well because he went off with an injury against Huddersfield. So, it'd be quite poetic and nice that they have those two especially have a good game to say goodbye to the Cardiff fans. But, all that stuff aside, they are both really good players. Carver's been, such an important player for us since he's come in, and he scored some really important goals, and he reads the game so well. And Philogene is probably our best creative outlet and has been all season. And he dribbles with the ball really well. He creates some really good chances and he can score goals as well. So I think those two specifically are definitely ones to look out for.
Yeah, you said never fall in love with a lone player. That has literally been the theme of our season. Nathan Teller, we all love him. Obviously, Bayer, who, fingers crossed, Bayer's staying. We can sign Bayer. Taylor Harwood-Bellis, Martson, they've all been fantastic. I would be gutted if Teller left and we didn't get Teller next season, but it's looking like Southampton are potentially going to play hardball with him, but there's no official word yet. So I would be gutted if Teller wasn't here next season. I think he's my favourite player, Teller. Love him. Of course, Cardiff, this is a stat for you. Cardiff are currently one of only 3 teams that Burnley haven't beaten so far this season. Of course, the thing that weighs that in your favour is we've only played you once. but we couldn't beat Blackpool, ironically, one of the worst teams in the league, got relegated, and we couldn't beat Watford. Again, okay, average, got some good players to be fair to Watford. But everybody else we've beaten at least at some point or done a double on them. Cardiff are the only team that we haven't beaten. Does that give you a bit of confidence going into it? Obviously, it was 1-1 in the home game, well, your home game, as we mentioned. Does that give you a bit of confidence going into this?
Yeah, a little bit. It's just, there are those freak weird stats like that, like how in the Premiership, the only teams that Arsenal haven't beaten are Man City and Southampton. It's just, those little stats like that I think are brilliant. And, it's just that little mental thing. If the boys can think, well, we have opportunity to do something pretty special, a team as good as this to not be able to beat us, that could, maybe spark something or inspire something a little bit. But yeah, I didn't know that. And Blackpool as well. That seems really...
Yeah, that's the most annoying one, because obviously Blackpool are Lancashire rivals. So I would have enjoyed, smashing Blackpool like we smashed Blackburn and Preston at the Turf. We played Blackpool quite early in the season and went 2-0 up, gave a stupid goal away, then went 3-1 up, then got Ian Mortson sent off. So the game was just topsy-turvy. But then we were quite poor earlier in the season by our standards for the rest of the season. But then again at Bloomfield Road, we're only about, 8 weeks ago, something like that, probably a little bit less, 6-7 weeks ago. We just didn't get going. Their keeper was man at match, to be fair, but still didn't get going. So yeah, that one's the one that frustrates me the most. Anyway, going into this game then, obviously we're getting towards a half an hour mark. I'll be honest, I didn't expect we'd get half an hour on this game with it being a damp squib. But yeah, predictions then, mate. What score do you think it's going to be?
I'm going to go with the heart, not my head. I'm going to say that Carver and Philogene get the lovely loan send-offs that we all hope for. And we put a little bit of a dampener on what's been a brilliant season for you guys anyway. But I can't imagine you'd be that bothered about it. I'm going to go with a Cardiff win. I'm going to say unconvincing 1-0. My head says we're going to lose, but it's last game of the season. I'm just going to say it with my chest, and Cardiff win 1-0.
Yeah, fair enough. Got to respect it. For me, I'm thinking the script's written, we'll turn up. We won't hit the heights that we've hit in previous games, like I just said earlier, the 3-0 against Blackburn, the 3-0 against Preston, the 4-0 at home to Huddersfield. There's been a lot of games this season where we raced to 3-0 and then we just step back. Because the pressure's off, who knows, if we got to that 3-0, we might end up, sticking more on. But I just think we'll have half an eye on the party. We'll have half an eye on lifting the trophy, half an eye on the Champions Parade around the town on Tuesday, and half an eye on going to Dubai on Wednesday. Not that I'm going to Dubai, but the players obviously are. But I still think we'll win. I think it'll be 2-0, just sort of like pressure's off. Both teams playing with freedom. It'll be a good game, I think. A lot of... hopefully some good weather, but a lot of free-flowing football from our side, I think. So, yeah, looking forward to it. Really looking forward to it. But, mate, it's been a pleasure. We'll wrap it up there. Thank you for coming on. Good luck for next season. And just want to let everyone know where they can find you on socials and any Cardiff content that you might create.
Awesome, yeah. So you can find me on Twitter. My handle's at ThomasTaylor4, Thomas without a H. And in my Twitter bio, I've got a link to my website, where I do a load of different sports blogs, some about Cardiff, but mainly about loads of different stuff. So whether you like F1, cricket, rugby, football, NFL, anything like that, then chances are I'll end up writing about it at some point. And and I say really best of luck to Burnley next year, and hopefully you guys can stay up.
Thank you, appreciate that. I didn't know you were into NFL. What do you think of JJ Watt investing in Burnley?
I love that. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah,
I think it's amazing. I've always loved Watt as a player, and it's one I didn't see coming, in all honesty. I'm a big Eagles fan myself, so hopefully, I don't know, Jason Kelsey can invest a little bit in Cardiff.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I'm hoping he listens to this, mate, because like I said, he followed the page on Twitter, so he might hear that and he might give you a follow back. Who knows? But thanks for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure. Good luck for next season. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks everybody for listening on the podcast. I will do a full-time show. I just don't 100% know when it will be. But like I said, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And remember, we won the league at Ewood Park.